Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today's pick a card reading is kind of a problem solving based one. And it's inspired by the fact that I just recently got a new Oracle deck from Rockpool Publishing. I think it's been around for a while. It's just that it's new to my collection, and it's called the Zodiac Moon Reading Cards. And what's interesting about it is it has all the sort of sun signs and all the moon signs, and then it also has eclipses in each of the signs as well. You can see 3 of them here. So I felt inspired to have a look, as I say, as a bit of a problem-solving thing, to explore what energy, what situation, what emotion, whatever it might be either eclipsing some of your happiness or your aims or whatever at the moment, or even just, the general day-to-day, whatever it might be. Like there's an energy. We're trying to look for the energy that either does eclipse that, does take away some of your joy, happiness and approach to things, or that could do that if you weren't aware of it. And look at then how to bring the sun out. So if we think of the eclipse as the sort of moon covering the sun, what energy would actually bring you out of that? So to set up the reading, and I'll put out the numbers as always, pile 1, 2 and 3, and of course you can go to more than 1 if you like. I shuffled and then I dealt out till I got the first 3 eclipse signs from this deck, asking sort of spirit to show the primary area where this is either happening or could happen without you sort of putting some attention to the area. There's also another couple of cards from this deck that I don't know what it is in each of them, so there may be other eclipses. There might be secondary or lesser levels, or ones that kind of could follow on from it, but there could also be energy and advice around where your sun is or where your moon is, to get a little bit more information about either the energy that needs to shine out from this, or the energy that may be threatening the eclipse. So as I say, the whole idea of this is not meant to be negative. It's actually meant to be positive. It's meant to be problem solving. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And we'll look with tarot at a little bit more about the eclipse energy, a little bit about what's unseen in the process of it, and then how you can bring the sun out and look at what natural and spiritual supports you have in the situation. So to help with the choices, as I say, this gives us a pretty good idea, firstly, the kind of area or sign that is involved, at least as the main energy. And as I say, there may be other eclipse energy. We'll see what we get. But for pile number 1, we have eclipse in Capricorn, which is talking about success and a direction in life. For pile number 2, we have an eclipse in Virgo, which is about responsibilities, duties, structure, organisation. And for pile number 3, we have an eclipse in Scorpio, which is about dealing with emotional issues and regeneration and change. So picking up some of the primary aspects of those signs. So that may help you choose. You may go to a particular number always. If you're not sure, pause the video and meditate and then decide. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 for your reading. So you came to eclipse in Capricorn, and as I said in the introduction, we do have some sort of clues to this on the card itself, talking about reevaluating success and a new direction. So this card and this sort of eclipse presages a change in your sort of material circumstances, the powers of the world, your career, your material structures. So that can be relationships, like getting married or moving in or something like that. Could be a change in your material fortunes, or the opposite, moving out, that kind of thing. But there's a material change coming up. And the risk around this, that this card talks about, or the thing that one needs to be careful of when going through a new direction as material, is knowing whether it is following your own life path, your own idea of success, or whether you're a little bit caught by the authority ideas of others and so forth. So this could very much play out if you're sort of in a workplace and there are some opportunities, but you're not sure about the cost of doing that. You may also feel with an eclipse, if you feel eclipsed by that energy, that you're not being seen for what you could do and so forth. So there is something for you here about what does success mean to you, and what is the material outcomes, and what would it be to have power in the world in the way that you would want it to be. Now, the interesting thing for you is that we got 2 other moon cards. So I think it's very much showing the areas where you need to think about this, where what you would think success was could be eclipsed by other things. And I think that this is about a competitive environment. This looks to me as though that's the case. Very interesting. We've got not only an eclipse in Capricorn, but moon in Capricorn. this says scale mountains to gain a sense of achievement. This is about the practical outcomes of your emotional energy. And it's also about what is the emotional structure for you, and needing to see something that is practical and real. So there's a very strong energy here for pile 1 that success to you does need to have a material outcome and does need to mean something in the world. This is about achieving material outcomes. That's important. And it's interesting, we also have the moon in Aries, believe in yourself, courage, because Aries is the great ambitious one. So we have a combination of fire and earth here. And I think that this is all about, as I say, when we're looking at these sort of energies, the powers of the world, the capacity to be eclipsed by other power, other authority, and so forth, and these sort of emotional responses that could contribute to that being eclipsed around ambition and around what constitutes a material outcome that you would value and you would trust. It just, to me, feels as though there is something about competition. So there's something about a competitive thing around a workplace, a competitive thing around relationships, a competitive thing around something creative. But for you, there's a very strong sense of, can you be sure that your own ambition and the definition of what the outcome is doesn't actually eclipse your capacity to really go in a new direction? Like this could be saying that you are on the precipice of having a new opportunity, but if you are so fixed in what your ambition is and in how you want to win that you miss that opportunity, then that could be an issue. The interesting thing, though, is that Spirit is saying that this Aries energy, although it is a bit of a risk about becoming, I think, overly invested in the competitive side of things and being first, is nevertheless, I think, the way to bring the sun out as well. Because we also have 2 cards from the Blue Dragonfly, and the first is to represent a bit more about how this eclipse energy is operating, and the second is to show how the sun could come out. Now, it's interesting. The eclipse energy here, we have inner beauty, self-love, romantic feelings, falling in love. So for some of you, this is about competition in love in a very direct way. And if that's the case, it's like, what is the practical outcome? And it could be, for some of you, if you have had a very fixed idea around winning the heart of someone, you may be missing the real person. That is a possibility there. If it's not literally about love there, it's more about self-love and who you are, then there's something about how you defined what success is and who you are in success that has the risk of you missing another opportunity. The divine masculine energy, control, leadership and determination, seems to be the way out of it. So it looks to me as though one of 2 things needs to happen, and we'll see a little bit more with tarot. It looks like either to not have this eclipse in Capricorn, to not be overtaken by other people's ambitions, other people's ideas. You either need to take the lead on asking the person out you want, if it's about that, if you and moving away from maybe something that wasn't working to something that feels a little less sure but could actually take you where you want to go. So being the initiator of something rather than maybe waiting for somebody to initiate or choose you need to choose, I guess is what I'm saying here. The other thing is that if there is choices around how to do your ambition, then if a new direction offers a greater sense for personal leadership, that's the way you should go, even if you feel that it's a riskier way to get to it. Because there's just a feeling with these 2 moon energies here that there's ambition and risk are kind of battling with each other. But this is definitely saying take action. So either way, taking action rather than sort of like almost emotionally. And it's interesting because I feel like the inner beauty card feels like emotion here, and we have 2 moon cards, and the moon kind of tilts towards the emotional side of things. So I think it really is the new direction, taking the lead is what Spirit is trying to say to you about not being eclipsed in what your sense of success would be. I just feel for some of you, it's like there's something new and you've been going after something else for so long, and maybe it's very, very close to achievement, and so it would be hard to shift, but this would actually give you more. And so this feels very internal in terms of how you could actually let your own chance for success eclipse you. So let's have a look with a little bit more detail with tarot. So what I want to look at is a bit more about the actual energy of the eclipse itself. So what is the risk we're talking about here that we're trying to problem solve? And we'll also then look at what's really unseen in it. And I'm going to use the Monsoon Tarot, which is very moon-based to me for that, because this is all about the moon side of it. Then I'm going to use the Radiant Wilds Tarot, which feels very much like the sun to me, for how to actually come out of that, how you turn it from a challenge to a championship. So firstly, just a little bit more. So we maybe get a bit more of a sense about, is this primarily the kind of creation of a sort of long desired, achieved emotional relationship where you need to take the lead, or is this an emotional response to something about what success is, say in a workplace or on a political stage or something like that? So let's just see a little bit more information about it. Queen of Air, Queen of Fire, wow. Nine of Air reversed, Ace of Air reversed, Two of Earth reversed. Okay. So this suggests to me, because this is part of what the eclipse is, that there is something here. It is about your sense of self-worth. Self-worth is very important with the Queen of Fire there. And the Queen of Air has very specific ideas about what that is. So whether this is around relationship or whether it's around career, there's a sense here you have very well developed ideas about what it would be to believe in yourself, what it would be to have that inner beauty, all of those things. But this is part of the eclipse. And we have the Nine of Air, which is the Nine of Swords reversed. There's a kind of anxiety or a kind of guilt associated with this in some way that's actually blocking what is new and making it hard for you to make the material choice. So I feel like what I'm getting here is that there's something in the environment that you're in. It's either, as I say, a love relationship, friendship, something like that, or it's something in work or vocation or some sort of cause, but where there's almost a sense that and this may be what other people are doing actually, that you almost feel guilty if you push yourself too much forward. So whether it's that, you sort of feel like, yes, you want to draw somebody to you in a relationship, and if you draw them to you and they ask you out, then you can feel that it's secure. But you also feel like if you are too showy or whatever, then you're somehow cheating, particularly if there's sort of somebody else around or something like that, if there's a competition like that, or if it's in the workplace, it's almost, you kind of know you really are the leader and you really could go forward, but it's almost like there's something in the environment, maybe even something in the culture, that makes you feel that you would be seen as too showy or too egotistical or even accused of being narcissistic. And I don't think you are. I don't think you are at all. But I think you self-regulate a lot. You've got some great ideas. All of this sort of stuff is there, but it's like something has made you feel guilty about it. It is possible for some of you. This might be, that you want a job and you're up against sort of somebody who you think also deserves it and you're not sure about how to put yourself forward. It could be competing with a friend in some way or someone in your family. It could also be, wanting somebody in a love relationship who's already with someone. Like there's something where you're holding yourself back, but the way to actually have success and not be eclipsed in this is to take action. So let's ask what's unseen for you at the moment. So you're kind of aware that you kind of have everything you need to succeed, really, but you're holding yourself back for some reason. So let's see what's hidden from you in this sort of eclipse energy. Five of Water, Seven of Fire, the Magician reversed, Judgment. Okay, all right. So I think if you are feeling guilty about pushing yourself forward for whatever this is, don't, because there is someone who's trying to make you feel that way. And it's quite cleverly done. This person is making you feel that to be competitive is somehow wrong. You're doing the wrong thing morally, or as I say, you're egotistical or something. There's probably a lot of projection going on. What you're not quite seeing is there's something in this environment, or there's something, it may even be something from, friendships or family early on that has put you in this sort of false idea that to be competitive is somehow to be wrong. And it's a manipulation. There is a manipulation energy operating here. Now, a little bit later on, we're going to have a look at the external factors associated with this. So I'll remember this because this is important. There is something here where I think people, in whatever situation it is, see how much you would shine, see how much you could lead, see how much you could be the attractive one, whatever it is, and there's some gaslighting going on, and you're not really aware of that. So this is probably why you were meant to come to this reading, because you're very proper, you're very moral. So even though you're also very charismatic, attractive, whatever it is, skilled, whatever it is, ready to do this, it's like you're holding yourself back, but somebody's manipulating that. And they kind of play on your sympathies about how other people might be disappointed or who else might be hurt. They're trying to sort of, hold out for the clock to turn. They're trying to kind of keep you distracted until the opportunity passes by. So there's somebody to watch out for, definitely, pile 1. So then if we use the Radiant Wilds Tarot, let's see what advice Spirit has for you to rise. I mean, apart from taking action and not listening to this gaslighting, because there is gaslighting. So, Knight of Wands, the Star reversed, the Ten of Cups reversed, the Knight of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles reversed. Okay. The main thing, and this is going down to the Divine Masculine, I think that's connecting here with the Knight of Wands. I think the main thing, and it's also the energy of Aries, fire energy, this is the key. The sort of this side of it is the key. So your ambition, in fact, you're holding back. That's what we're seeing now. So it wasn't an issue that you were being too ambitious or too stuck on something you couldn't have. It's that you have been submerging that. Just moving, just acting. You don't have to push yourself too far forward with the Star reverse, so you don't have to play into the game of this person by appearing to be trying to cause issues. But you do need to recognize that there's something established in this energy, and some people are going to get upset, and you need to be aware of that. For some of you, this is around family, I have to say. For some of you, it might be sibling rivalry or something like that, but don't let that get into your head. That emotional energy needs to dissipate. It needs to be overturned. There is not a good outcome to listening to this person. There is not a reward for that. But if you just keep moving, you just keep acting, then you don't have to live into their thing so that you don't have to give them a weapon, so to speak. You just have to keep moving forward. Good things are coming to you, whether it's love or an opportunity or something. It's meant to come there. So it's just understanding how to play with that energy, and the right people are going to come around you with the Nine of Pentacles. You're not going to be on your own. This may even have been some of what you've been told. Well, if you do that, you won't be part of the group, or you won't be part of this organisation, or we won't like you anymore, or that's not what this family does, or it's not the way we do things around here, or whatever it might be. But the thing is that they've played on your ability or your attractiveness or whatever it is. So it's saying you don't have to give them ammunition, but you just keep moving towards your goal, and the rest will come to you. So it's like the eclipse is going to pass as long as you don't let them, so say, run out the clock, really. That's why you just have to keep acting. You keep moving forward. Someone's trying to stop you, asking somebody out, ask them out. If someone is trying to stop you going for a job, go for the job. Just do that. You don't have to make a big show of it. Just don't let them run out the clock on you, pile 1, because you are dealing with something like that. And if you aren't right now, it's coming. So just be aware of that. Be aware that someone's very threatened by you. It might be more than one person, but I'm feeling for most of you it's one particular person, but they're very speak with forked tongue, they're clever at what they do, and they're really just trying to delay you. They're trying to make you not believe in yourself. So this is saying, yes, go on mountains to see a sense of achievement. Like don't let that eclipse you. Don't let that occur. Look at what this would mean to you and just take one step and then another step. That's all that's really necessary. So let's have a look at the internal and external. So I'm going to look firstly at other people's impact, and we might pick up a little bit more about this. We're going to get a couple of cards from the Cute and Creepy Oracle and a couple of cards from the Two Penny Oracle, which just gives us some psychological energy that's operating around this. So this may pick up more about this person. It may also pick up people that can be helpful. So we'll just see what the energy is saying, because I think you are going to bring in the right people if you just act, if you don't let this energy eclipse you and stop you thinking, stop making you doubt whether you can have the success that you want. So other people energy. Grieve. Allow yourself to grieve over your loss of person, opportunity or situation. Okay, so this is what they want to bring about. There is someone who's not nice, I've got to say. But I think you may also, maybe you're close to this person. I don't think if you're after a lover, it's your lover, by the way. I think it's someone who doesn't want you to have that. That's what it feels like. It's someone who's trying to run out the clock so that you don't get to have something either they thought they should have but they're not going to have, or they're just jealous of you. But it still might be painful. You still might need to grieve. Also be aware with the Five of Cups here in this sort of energy, it might be someone who tries to use grief as a way to hold you back. Like, you know, one of the things that this could be is if you were interested in someone and you're with a friend who's single and is getting over a breakup, they might play the sympathy card and take up all your time, you know, that kind of energy. So just be aware there's something about this. You may either need to let something go that didn't work so that you can move forward, or you may have someone who's manipulating you around sort of emotional blackmail. And gamble. Situation could be a gamble, or you should gamble on this yet. So I think you will, if you gamble on the energy of moving forward rather than playing into this game, you're going to bring the right people. And they're going to see what you're doing. They're going to be inspired by what you do. So I do think there's that kind of good energy. Let's also get a card from the Two Penny Oracle for a psychological energy that's coming towards you, both positive and negative sides of it. Calculation. Okay, yeah. This is this person. Very, very calculated, very, very assessing of everything, very manipulative. See, but they play this game. They try and make you feel like you'd be negligent if you do this. You know, they make an assessment. They've made an assessment that you're a really good person and that you could be manipulated. But on the other hand, you can also start to assess them. Once you know someone's trying to manipulate you, pile one, they can't do it anymore. So I think this is the whole point. It's probably why you were meant to come to this reading. Once you, whether it's happening right now or whether it triggers soon, you're going to know, because someone's going to try and talk you out of something that you want. And they're going to try and make you feel that that's too much, or you're not good enough for it, or they need your attention. Why are you concentrating on that? There's something, you'll know it, but there's a lot of gaslighting going on. Okay, let's see the energy from you dealing with all of this. And again, this could be stuff that you could self-sabotage that you need to be aware of, or it could be things that you can leverage. So, B, working with others, communication, sweetness, hard work. So I think there's a couple of messages there, because a lot of this could be around work and you know, going for the next job, or it could be meeting someone at work and all that kind of thing. You will find the right people to collaborate with, and your heart is very good and you want to collaborate. But you do need to be aware that that sweetness and that kindness could be exploited as well. So just keep an eye out for who's reciprocal. These are all very reciprocal, but if someone sort of tries to put themselves above it all, then that's going to be a sign for you. And home. Home is where your heart is. Where is your heart? Okay, so some of you, this is connecting to something from family. And there could be sibling rivalry. It could be sort of, yeah, something like that. Or it could be about, you know, this could be about something very important, like, you know, the sort of job that's going to allow you to have the home and the place that you want to be, or the relationship that is truly of your heart. So you need to put your industry and your work towards that, not towards whatever this energy is. So let's see from the Two Penny Oracle, a personality aspect to either manage or leverage from your perspective, pile one. Olfaction, sleuthing. No, nose blindness, that's interesting, and nosiness. Okay, right. So you just need to really assess this. This is all this is really saying. It's interesting. I think it's olfaction, you know, like the sense of smell, like what doesn't smell right, what smells right and what doesn't smell right. There's something around this that you need to understand a bit more of. I think it's, as I say, once you actually realize who this person is, that it'll come together really, really clearly. But while you're trying to sort of see the good in everybody, including this person, then you're being a bit nose blind. Whereas nosiness, maybe you need to kind of get a little bit more into the detail to find out. That will actually help you. I think this is also saying that you're probably quite kinesthetic in terms of your spiritual gifts. You know, you can kind of, as I say, you can smell a rat, you know, that kind of thing. And don't doubt it. Don't doubt it, because there's definitely somebody that you have to be aware of. Okay, so we want to give you a little bit of support as well to deal with this. So I thought that both from the natural world and also from the 5D. So from the natural world, I'm just going to get you a couple of spirit animals to help you deal with this issue and make sure that you're not eclipsed in reevaluating and gaining success and in believing in yourself. Peacock. Prosperity, yeah, you're supposed to do well. Certainly, I mean, with both the moon and also the eclipse in Capricorn, this for many of you is about things like career, money, the long-term happiness, all that sort of stuff, and becoming who you're meant to be, the resplendent peacock. So do not let that. But I think it's interesting. I think there is a double message here, because the peacock is saying that is who you are and you are beautiful. But some people might almost try to make out that you're being a bit of a peacock. That's the thing. This is the thing to watch out for. There's a kind of a subtle and manipulative energy to try and make you doubt yourself or make you feel that you're being too egotistical or something like that. So the peacock is here to lead you to your prosperity and to know that it's okay to be as glorious and colourful as you are. And beaver, work. Yeah, a lot of you, this is about work. A lot of this, but also working at this, like if you take the first steps a step at a time, working at it, just, sort of having the patience, you're going to scale the mountains, you're going to manage this. You just need to believe in yourself. Just don't let anybody slow you down. I think you just have to get on with things. I think that's the main message. When somebody's trying to slow you down, that's the clue. Let's also get a message from your 5D self around it. Visionary. You have the capacity to envision what's possible. Yeah. Believe in yourself. Reevaluate what success is. You can find your way through all of this. The murky energy is once you've seen it, you don't need to see it twice. And then you can envisage what you want. That's why people are going to come towards you. That's why you're meant to become successful, because you are a visionary. This person knows it and they're jealous. That's really what it comes down to. It's just basically dealing with jealousy. So let's just finish up with some practical magic for you to use to fully come out of this eclipse energy and go towards your success and what you dream and what you envisage or envision. Part 1. Let the past die, Raven King. Okay, so and there's grieving. This is probably someone who's been in your life quite a long time. It may also be patterns that you recognize almost unconsciously and you go into if you came, because I said there's some stuff around family here. If you came from a family where you weren't meant to compete or, or something like that, or there were values that said that was somehow wrong, or if you want, material success and they weren't into that, there's something of the past that you need to let go, you need to grieve so that you can move forward. I also think with Raven King, it's another spirit animal with you, which is like a psychopomp that brings you messages and so forth so that you can find your way in the darkness. Because I do think that, this whole set of readings was meant to be about problems, so I shouldn't be surprised, but there's definitely a sense here of a warning for you. But once you see this, they can't do it anymore, and that will have you let it go. And if it is that this person is actually someone you were wanting as a partner, then if you believe in yourself and your beauty, you're going to find something much better. But you just have to let that go. So it just depends on how it's playing out. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 1. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the eclipse in Virgo, and as I said, there could have been other eclipses that come out, and we have the eclipse in Leo as well too, as a kind of secondary or following on sort of energy in terms of understanding the issue or the risk, I guess, associated with the eclipse energy, because there's also a promise associated with the eclipse energy as well. But you came to the eclipse in Virgo, and this as a primary thing is about either your work life, your responsibilities, your duties, and the risk potentially around this is of maybe putting others ahead of yourself or doing more than is your fair share, or having some sort of inequitable balance of energy and effort into something. Or it can be around your routines, getting your kind of exercise and well-being out of whack compared to what you're doing more generally in your life. But there's something here about the structure and the organization of your life and whether things are in balance. It's also, Virgo can be a bit of a critical sign. So this card does talk about, are you either being too critical of others or yourself, or are you getting unfair criticism? And it's interesting because when we have the secondary eclipse here with eclipse in Leo, this is about, Leo is all about sort of being the star, being shining brightly, the sun in many ways, but we've got the eclipse here. And it is about being a star. But the risk that can be associated with this is if you could be overshadowed by someone who maybe there could be a classic reading of those two together, for instance, could be in a workplace or in a study group or something. You're the one who's putting in all the effort, but someone else is taking all the credit. So that would be one way of reading that sort of energy. But whatever it is, whether it's as obvious as that, or whether it's just a kind of internal battle between what is the responsibility and what would be the reward and being seen and being recognized, there is something here where that energy could be eclipsed by either other people or by the choices that you're making. Now, I think for most, it's more by other people. And I think that you've actually already suffered something like this. And in fact, if anything, you may be too critical of yourself, where maybe there were people who wanted to take all the credit for things. That's the energy that I'm feeling primarily from this, particularly as another aspect of the eclipse energy is I am healing, deep wound, overcome pain, rebuild. Something unfair has happened by the looks of things. So I think there has been a lack of balance, whether you've been aware that was what was doing it, but I think that there was something like that. Your efforts, your abilities, your star, so to speak, has not been seen as brightly as somebody else, and there has been a wound associated with that. Now, the good news is we have a sun card here, which is starting to show the way out, so it's already there, and we have sun in Aquarius, opportunity. This is talking about change is coming, opportunity is coming. Sun in Aquarius is way ahead of the pack. Sun in Aquarius is the most future thinking, forward thinking of all the signs. So there's something new and different and a little bit sort of transpersonal and larger than life that you can bring in. It's like an idea or a concept or a new creation. And this is meant to be part of how the sun comes out. And we have, where do I fish? Creative brain, logical brain, self-made person, intuition and rationality. You have a really brilliant connection between your intuition, your sort of spiritual knowledge, and your mind and your capacity to bring in the new. So regardless of whatever has happened, I feel this is saying that heal from that, because there's an opportunity, there's something that only you are going to see. Only you are going to be able to bring in, and that at that point it will be almost impossible for somebody else to take the credit. But you need to work out, where is that opportunity? What is it where you're working at the moment? Is it somewhere else? Is it a new creative project? Is it a new relationship? Though I think a lot of this has to do with your sort of work, your effort, your creativity, and how it could be recognized. And this is already saying there's a wonderful opportunity coming through for you. So with that good news, let's get a little bit more of an idea about this that has probably already occurred, I would say, and how it might have made you almost have a way of second guessing yourself and being too critical of yourself. Or at worst, going to a victim mentality where you criticize this person, but you're not healing. I mean, there seems to be something here where you need to just kind of decide, what do I learn from that, so that when this new opportunity comes through, you don't repeat it. But let's just see a little bit more about the energy of this eclipse in Virgo with the sort of secondary energy of an eclipse in Leo. The star. Yeah, it's got to do with being seen, definitely. King of Earth. 10 of Earth, the Chariot, 3 of Air. Okay, I think that whatever this new thing is, you're going to move on from a situation, and it may be a situation of some long standing. What it looks like to me is you should have been a star. You should have been a star. You were very reliable, very mature. You put a lot into something huge. I mean, that's very kind of Virgoan and kind of any earth sign really energy there. You were very much maybe even the person. This could be someone who, in fact, with these cards, started an organization, started a group, started a study group, whatever it is, and you were the backbone of it. You were really the star. It was your destiny, but something happened because it's turned out to be painful. So I would say this is sort of like an energy of, as I say, somebody else coming in and taking the crown for some reason. But There's something about this that is still the right direction. It's just somewhere else you need to separate. This is saying separation is going to be necessary from this situation. So let's see a little bit more about what was unseen, what you don't realize about this eclipse energy. Nine of Earth, Knight of Earth reversed, 10 of Water, the Fool. Okay, yeah. This is what you haven't seen. Like, something has happened, as I say, that's been painful. You really were, this is like somebody who started a business and then somebody else took it over. That's the kind of thing. Or who had the great idea and somebody else got the credit. That's the energy of this. If that doesn't resonate now, I think you're in the wrong reading, because I think this has happened. What you haven't known about this is that it was being done for you by the universe, not to you. And the reason I'm saying that, because I don't normally like that terminology much, but it sometimes does apply, is that this is saying you are meant to be your own person, the self-made person, as it says, the Aquarian, the person who's ahead of the curve. A Knight of Earth, you are too loyal to things that do not deserve it. And this is partly also this: choose duties and responsibilities carefully. Don't become loyal to something that is not reciprocating that loyalty. But you have a very strong emotional thing. It's like the people that you work with, the people you study with, they become like family. So this was happening to you because you were meant to go on this new journey yourself. And it's not one that the current people that you're with, or at least the ones that have stolen your glory, can't go with. There may well be some people that you can take with you from this that aren't doing that to you. But this has happened to kind of almost push you out of the crib in a way, so that you would go on the new journey. So let's see, with the Radiant Wilds Tarot, representing the Sun energy, what is the sort of advice of Spirit to go towards your Sun in Aquarius here, your new ideas, your change, your self-made person energy. Four of Swords reversed, Ace of Pentacles, yeah, definitely new start. The Hanged One reversed, the Three of Wands reversed, the Queen of Swords reversed. Okay, yeah, you have been too critical of yourself. That was either going to be, as I said, you were critical of others or too critical of yourself. When the Queen of Swords comes up, that tells me you're being too critical of yourself. Because you're very loyal and because this really mattered to you, you think you made the mistake, but this was going to happen anyway. There's sort of like, there were people that were going to do that. But I think there's a lot that you've probably learned from all of this, and you can then take that into something that's much better. But you do need to turn off the self-critic. You also need to let go of a pathway now that's not working. Think differently about things. The more that you think differently, the more you bring in that Aquarian energy, the more you move towards this, because there is a blessing waiting for you materially. And you need to come out a little bit more. This is the classic sort of reading of someone who's actually a brilliant ideas person, but they do a lot of the work to make it happen. And as I say, somebody else stands on the stage and claims it. But you're meant to come out more with what you do, and there is something new coming in that has a huge blessing around it. But this is meant to make you think differently about who to connect with and stop being so critical of yourself. Like, you probably let these people get away with stuff because you were kind of like so focused on the outcome of somebody else wants to sort of like, be, the face of it, that's fine. But like there's a sense here, no, you're meant to be, and it's time for your star to shine. So let's have a little bit of a look, a little bit more about other people's input to this. So this could be people who you could connect with going forward. It could be also people that have created this situation as well. So it'll either be sort of something positive, or it might be a little bit more about what you need to move away from. So let's see. The Sun, consciousness, ego, vitality, stamina. I think this is a double message. I think this is talking partly about this Leonian energy, where there are those who tried to take the Sun. But I think it's also saying, pointing to the Sun in Aquarius. So I think it's saying other people who have a forward-thinking, future-thinking way of things and are interested in the ideas and what's being created, and not so much in the sort of stardom. They will be the positive energies for you. And temptation, luring you away from your true purpose. Okay, so this is probably what's happened here. Maybe it was someone who was very charismatic and made you feel special, made you think the thing was wonderful, and then sort of like took the credit or whatever it is, or there's something where you could get, and this may be this, you could be lured into that energy again. You're meant to learn from this energy. It's meant to be your sun shining. It's meant to be your life path. But there is almost a temptation here for you. And I think it's because you come from a very good heart. You just want to think everybody else is coming from that space. But I think there is a kind of a double message here to be careful. Be careful of the charismatic person who you sort of get drawn to, then taking what is really, they see the sun that you have. So just be aware of that. So let's see, with the two penny oracle, what are some personality aspects of people around you that you either should, bring more into your life or possibly be a little bit aware of? Constructiveness. Okay. This is definitely picking up this energy, because there's nothing that positive in any of this. That usually out of the three ways of describing the particular energy, there will be something that is positive, but this is all elements that you need to be aware of. Contrivance. There are people who maybe try and lure you in so that they can take from you, because you shine as an innovator, but as I say, you could be taken advantage of if you aren't aware of the pattern of it. Ineptitude. People who aren't actually up to things. So you may take on more than you should from some people sometimes, and as I say, like the classic one of the study group where you do all the work and somebody else, struts around about it. And misconception. Are you misunderstanding people? Are you misunderstanding what they're bringing to the table? So I do think there is something about you that is very new and very exciting and very innovative, and you're able to do the work. Boy, can you do the work. You've got a great business brain, all of that kind of thing. Or great study mind, whatever this is about, but others may take advantage because you're also very caring. So it's just to be aware of that. So let's have a look at some personal aspects for you to either use or separate out from, depending upon whether they move towards you starting your new venture, your new change, your ahead of the pack, ahead of your time sort of energy. We get self-care. Do things to preserve or improve your mental or physical health. Yeah, there is some healing to do. It said it right at the beginning. And don't allow yourself to indulge. There is something there. Make that part of your routine. I think you might be a bit of a workaholic, Paul, too. So just be aware of that. And the moon, subconscious emotions, instincts. Yeah, this moon energy is and it seems very saying sun, moon. One of the things this could be saying for some of you, and this is fairly specific, so it won't necessarily apply to everybody, but for some of you, there might have been some sort of a sense of a soul twin or a twin flame or something. If you felt that, I don't think it's true in this case, because I think it's connecting to the moon energy, but you get tempted by, it's like you're so ahead of your time, you're tempted by someone who appears to also be there. But I think you just have to be very careful about that. Very careful about it. It doesn't mean you can't be with someone, but it just means you just need to look for those patterns, what's happening with that. So let's see what the two penny oracle can say for you to focus on. Color, character. Okay. All right. I have no idea what foo-for-all is. And taradiddle, I don't know. Those might be some oldie-timey sort of terminology. So I'll just go with this. I think this is really, colour is fine. Being drawn to colour is fine. An emotional connection is fine. Having your own colour is fine, but it must also have character. What is the character? And what I would say, one of the things is I would give for advice with this is watch what somebody does. Because I think the sort of energy you've had here is people who probably talk a really good story and claim all sorts of things, but watch what they do. Someone's character will always be shown by what they do, not by what they say. There are plenty of sort of people who virtue signal all over the place but can't live up to it, for a second of the day. So look at that. Look for character. If you find character to align with your sense of shine and somebody who also shines, then you get the sun, moon, then you get the right balance. But that's the only time you should give your emotion to somebody else. And otherwise, look after yourself. Okay, so let's get you a little bit of help both from the natural world and from the 5D world. So a couple of divine animals, a couple of spirit animals to support you, pile 2. Oh, this is interesting. This came up for one of the others, peacock. Yeah, you're meant to shine. Prosperity, you're meant to do well. So the peacock is here to make sure that you do it. And all your colours come out. This is meant to be about you. So only somebody with the character to meet you at the same level and celebrate you is worthy of you, pile 2, in whatever this is. And gorilla, peace. Okay, so bringing you peace through the self-care, through understanding, through seeing this, through knowing that the new is coming in and you have the strength to do that. And let's see what your 5D self wants to sort of say to you as well, pile 2. Shapeshifter, you have the power to change, live in the world, yet not be imprisoned by it. And that's a perfect description of moving into the sun in Aquarius. You've been a bit imprisoned, I think, by taking on all the responsibilities, all the duties, all the sort of like holding everything together while other people, danced around and had fun and took the credit. But you can shift, you can change, you can bring all that energy towards something and make it grow for yourself. But do look after yourself at the same time. Okay, so to finish off, I just want to bring you some practical magic as well to make sure that you do get to that sun in Aquarius, to the readiness for change, being ahead of your time, being the visionary, bringing the new in, pile 2. Ground yourself, Lady of it. I think this is going back to the healing. Going back to the healing, and also to what the energy is, all your colours, and be at peace, self-care. This is very, very important. As I say, there's been something really unfair, I would say, and this is a pattern that could repeat if you don't recognise it, but I do think you will recognise it. And one of the first ways to make sure, just as I was saying, look at what people do, put the routines in place that support you, that give you self-care, that make sure you don't become the workaholic, that put some proper boundaries around things, that sees the character of others by what they bring to the table, because you've got something really new and wonderful to bring in, and it's meant to be birthed. But you've kind of put all the criticism on yourself, and it's time to let that go, pile 2. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the eclipse in Scorpio, which could be potentially one of the more intense of the eclipses, because Scorpio tends to be one of the more intense of the signs. Very interesting, therefore, that you got 2 suns here. I think that's really useful. If you're going to be dealing with something that is as intense, particularly emotionally, as an eclipse in Scorpio, it's probably great that we didn't see either a secondary eclipse or a moon card here, so that there is a sort of a sense of the brightness both before and after. Like, this literally is like before the storm, the calm before the storm, and then the brightness after. So I feel that this is talking about an energy of change and intensity, out of which you will come to have a new adventure, a new way that you want to be, a new philosophy, travel, excitement, all of that kind of thing. But you've got to go through the process of intensely working out what you want, so that travel and that adventure is the right philosophy and so forth for you. And it's interesting because we have the sun in Libra before it, which is harmony, social things, social life, romance, enjoyment, all of those kinds of things, but a lot about the social fabric. And this is almost about the philosophic fabric and in a bigger world. So Scorpio, eclipse in Scorpio is talking about the intensity of things. The main thing that could eclipse is the intensity. It's sort of like that you have a lot of charisma, or you're around a lot of charismatic people, very intense people, very strong emotions around something that's going through change. And it should be for the better, particularly with 2 suns here, but it's likely to be intense. And you're either going through that now, or you've just been through it and you're coming into this energy. But what's going to help you? This is saying a bit more about it, the purge, psychophysical well-being, toxicity, introspection, cleansing. There is something about your social fabric, I think, with Libra, or about fairness, justice. Depends on how this is playing out. Libra can be about justice and what is just and what isn't just, which goes through a very intense storm and then comes out philosophically in a new direction. Or it's about something social that has some toxicity, some sort of issue where the harmony is not what it appears, and you're aiming for harmony, but you have to go through this intensity to actually get there, and then know who to travel with and how, basically. So There is something in this eclipse energy that is purging things, and I think you need, because it's so intense, to take some time out, to not be as concerned as you normally are around the social niceties and around who's getting on with who and who you see, but really get some introspective time. Because then what you will find is your new rhythm, the flow, the synchronicity, the adaptability that takes you to the expansive sort of energy of Sun and Sagittarius. So I think for most of you, this has something to do with something social. It could be romantic as well, but I think for a lot it's social. It could play out at work. It could play around friendships, around family. It could be even in social causes. But you are someone who naturally tilts towards harmony and expansion. But there's something, as I say, something needs to be purged, something is not working. So let's get a little bit more information about that from the Monsoon Tarot. So I'm using that for the moon energy. Nine of Air, the Hermit, Six of Fire reversed, Seven of Water, Two of Water. Okay. So there is a lot of anxiety. This is you're feeling it. There's something. If you have normally tried to always find the balance, the fairness, the social niceties, all of that kind of thing, and I think you would be actually extremely good at doing that normally, and will probably always be good at doing that. But there is some anxiety, there is some issue that you have not really wanted to engage with, that you've withdrawn a bit from, and to some degree that's the right thing to do because the introspection is necessary, but you know it's there. So a classic thing could be being in a friendship circle and there's suddenly like a very big clash between two key people in the group and you don't want to take sides, so you withdraw from it. But somehow it's still coming in. And it seems to have something to do with whatever this is, and that was just an example. It could be a romance, it could be something in a workplace, it could be, as I say, a social cause. Somebody is not being recognised who wants to be recognised. So they are agitating this energy. And there is, you can see some emotional truth in what they're saying, but you also think some of it's not quite right. You see it's hyperbolic. There's something that is not quite, it's over the top, but you know a choice has to be made. It feels like a choice of who to side with, a choice of who to recognise, a choice of what groups to stay with, a choice of what direction to take. For some of you, it could connect to a love relationship in some way. It could be that you have spent a lot of time around social, political issues or whatever, and your lover has felt unrecognised, and you've got to make a decision about whether you stay with that person or go. Like, are they the one or not? But there's an intensity. There's something coming up to the surface that needs to be sorted out, that has to do with one or more people not feeling seen or not feeling recognised. Whether that's true or not, it's another matter, but that's what they feel. So let's see what you don't see. What is hidden in this eclipse? What is hidden in all the intensity that would be helpful for you to know? Queen of Water, the Sun, the Fool, the Page of Fire. Okay, all right. So part of what you need to know is that you are one of the people who could work this through, who could sort this out. That's why you're going to be called into the energy. You don't really want to be, and I don't blame you. And there is a degree to which it is saying withdraw at first, but I think eventually you are going to get drawn into this because your emotional depth and your emotional maturity is part of your life path. That's why you have this sort of sense of harmony normally. But it's precisely that's going to draw you in. And that's going to cause a choice. It's striding out into new territory, literally, the Fool. Sagittarius, this sort of sense of like, what is the new? But it will bring you a new sense of sort of passion and excitement. So this is not ultimately going to be a bad thing. This is why you've got the eclipse on either side. The sun is there. The sun is out. The sun is out. There is a period of intensity where I think your emotional balance is going to be necessary, but it is important to give some boundaries to yourself as well too. But somebody or something isn't feeling seen, whether it's your lover, a friend, I don't know who it is. I don't know what it is because it's going to be different for different people. But you're going to be called into this. It's not your battle, I don't think, but you're going to be called into it to be a bit of a mediator. But out of it, something really wonderful comes. So let's use the Radiant Wilds Tarot and let's see what the sun is, in particular the sun after the storm, but it's a bit of both because I think you'll also still have this, once the storm is over, your social sort of fabric will settle down again because it's part of your genius, Pile 3. So the sun energy, once you've arisen from this eclipse problem or this eclipse threat, so to speak, or eclipse intensity. 5 of Swords, 4 of Swords reversed, Strength, the Sun. Yeah, the Sun, you are really, really strong life path. 6 of Swords reversed. Okay, all right. So what this is saying is that the battle will be brief and then over. So this is not a long-standing thing. It is important to not get into the toxicity, and you may want to purge some of it afterwards, but it won't be of long-standing. It's intense but short. You are going to need to get involved in it, but you're strong enough to do it. And this is part of your life path in some way. You're going to learn something about yourself and your capacity to sort of, as I say, bring in the new kind of ideas and philosophy and excitement and adventure while also keeping things socially or work-wise or whatever very, very nicely balanced, even when there's intense ego rubbish going on. And what you're going to realise is it is a new adventure, and you don't need to know the long-term destination. That you've worked out now where one of your strengths are, and that you know that even in intensity and even when things are new, you're going to be able to balance it out. You have this sort of Sun and Libra beauty for balancing things out. You're going to have realised it through this. So although you don't really want to deal with this rubbish, you're going to realise at the end that this is something that is a powerful part of you. So let's have a little bit more of a look about other people's energy around this. Because there's at least one person, I think, who's feeling aggrieved and not feeling seen. It might be a whole group of people. It might be a cause. Who knows? But let's just see the energy, both potentially positive and also challenging for this eclipse process for you. Ear. Stop and really listen. Yeah, you are going to have to. It probably is saying it's going to come as a bit of a surprise at first, so I think you've already got a kind of a sense of it. You don't want to know, but it's probably something, a group of friends or a workplace or whatever, where peace and getting on with people and all this has been prized for a long time, but there's a lot under the surface that has to come to the surface. So I think this is saying if you listen, and I think it could also say that there could be others who will really stop and listen when you speak. That's the other sort of side of looking at this. This is why it's important for you to come out a little bit and help. And we get reconnect with something or someone you lost a connection to. So this could even be, to be honest, a bit of an argument with somebody, and you think it's over, but it actually isn't. It actually isn't. It's brief, and it needed to happen, and the storm needed to happen, and then it's open, and then you reconnect. And I think if that's the case, the other person will reconnect with you. You'll have thought, oh, they've just walked away, that's it. But in fact, that isn't what's going to happen. Let's see some personality aspects as well, or a personality profile of energy coming towards you. Combativeness. Yeah, there is something. It's like you'll be fine though, because you're able to deal with all of this. But yeah, there's some sort of a battle. There's some sort of a battle. It's important not to be submissive in it, but I don't think you will be. So stand firm in the eye of the storm. But there is a battle going on. I don't think it's a battle with you. So you'll be thinking, oh, do I even have to be involved? But you kind of need to, unless you're thinking it is around someone you're close to. But it'll sort itself out. It's like it's really intense, and then it's over. So don't sort of like try and draw it out and try and silence it. Like listen to it. Let it happen. Let's see the energy for you. Balance. Harmonize opposing forces. Yeah, that's you, all right. So I don't think it's really, I think for most of you it's not your battle. You're just caught in the middle of it, but you are able to bring some balance to it. And soul family, chosen family, those who you connect with deeply. So yeah, there's something really good's going to come out of it. It's just, it just has to happen. Like it clears the air in some way. So let's see a personality thing for you to either focus on or avoid, depending upon what we get. No, intuition, instinct, premonition, yeah. Just, this is saying you already know this is coming. Don't try and stop it, just let it happen. You are more than able to bring this in, and it's going to actually reconnect you to your soul family or connect you to your soul family as well. So this is a storm that needs to happen, and on either side of it the sun shines. So it's not to be, you don't need to be frightened of it. You have the skills to deal with this. Nevertheless, let's get you a little bit of help. Let's get you a couple of spirit animals to help you with this energy, pile 3. Owl, wisdom. Yeah, I think you are wise. And again, go into your intuition, go into your inner knowing. You do know. You know this has to happen. That purge energy has to happen. And hyena, fear. Yeah, the only thing one has to fear is fear itself. So I think, and you are probably more able to deal with this than most. This is why you can do the equilibrium. But like, you know, if you're feeling fearful of what is happening with all of this or the intensity of it, call on hyena for support. Let's also see what your 5D self can do for you. Shaman. The unbound energy of the ancient shaman lights the path of wellness, wholeness, and freedom. Well, there you go. You're bringing a shamanic sort of energy, standing firm in the eye of the storm, being able to deal with the intensity. This is probably where you're getting some of the balance from. And these spirit animals will be very strong for you under those circumstances. The shaman is not afraid of the combat, not afraid of the sort of like dealing with those sort of issues in the other world. So this is, I think, energy of healing for you, so that you can stand in the storm and come out of it in this really bright way. So just to close out, we'll also get you some practical magic. Embody forgiveness, crown of stars and thorns. Oh, look, and we've got an owl again. There is something about this, like, it just could be that you're just around really bad behavior. Everybody's being a bit childish and you've got to bring it all together. Or it could be, you know, a love relationship that's got to go through a lot of kind of bringing everything up to the surface and clearing it out, and then you reconnect. Or it could be that you move away from certain things and find a new soul family, but it's important to forgive. So there is something that's going to be tough about this. But having said it, again, you are the person to do this. And you have the wisdom, as I say, the owl's turning up twice. So I hope that resonates for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading and it was helpful. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share, I'd love to hear in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.